Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video all about being a primary school teacher. Today we're going to be having a look at one of the most important years of your primary school career, and that is your NQT year. So for those of you that don't know, this is your year where you become a qualified teacher, and once you finish that year you're signed off to say, yep, you're a teacher, you're good to go. And it's your first year of teaching once you've finished your degree, once you've got your QTS status, and it is one of the most stressful, one of the longest and one of the most hardworking years you'll ever have in your life. But on top of that, it's also one of the most enjoyable, one of the most rewarding, and one of the most amazing experiences where you get to learn so much and you can build so many skills as a teacher that you learn and you begin to build the foundations of in that year. So if you're about to embark on your NQT year, do not be afraid of it. Do not worry about it. It is going to be tough, it is going to be hard, but if you stick at it, if you work hard, if you work with the people around you, then you'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. Let's get into tip number one in a second, and hopefully this will give you some ideas of the types of things to expect and the things you can do to start and hit the ground running in your NQT year. So tip number one. Tip number one is all about building up relationships with the staff in your school. And notice there I said staff, not just teachers. So depending on what school you work at, there could be any number of teachers in your school. But behind the teachers, working with the teachers, there'll also be any number of support staff, of dinner ladies, of people working in the office, of senior leadership team, of the head teacher, possibly even executive head teacher. There's a massive range of people. There's volunteers that come into work with children, people from outside agencies. As a teacher, you're going to have to work with all these different people and coordinate different activities, working with them. And it's one of them where my first tip would be to straight away talk to as many different people as you can. The quicker you can build relationships with these people, the quicker you can begin to get some helpful advice from them. The quicker that you can work with these people, the better it will be for you. I, in my NQT year, had the most amazing TA working with my class, and she was absolutely brilliant, and we got on really, really well. And the amount of times throughout that year that she saved my skin by reminding me, oh, this is coming up, or have you got yourself prepared for that? Have the children done their Christmas cards? Have we done a Mother's Day card ready to send home? Just honestly, if she ever watches this, then thank you so much. But it was incredible the amount she did for me that year, and I could not have got through without the help that she gave me. So my first bit of advice is just to start talking to people. There's people in the office that have helped me out when I wanted to apply for a mortgage and I had to get certain letters signed, and they were like, yep, that's fine, straight away, because I had a good relationship with them. Working with different support staff, different parent volunteers through the class, there's so many different ways you're going to need to work with these people. The quicker you build a relationship, the easier you will find it to work with these people and begin to understand where they're coming from with their ideas, put your ideas across to them, and begin that working relationship. So yeah, tip number one, definitely build your relationships with the staff, the teachers, the teaching assistants, dinner lady, parental volunteers, office staff, senior leadership team, anyone you talk to. Make sure you can get a positive relationship and you can talk to them about your ideas, and you'll be flying. Now, I'm about to go on to tip number two, but I need to nip downstairs and get myself some food. So I'm gonna go see if I can find myself a nice snack, and we'll be straight back to it. Okay, tip number two. Now, this is more about you guys as a teacher in the classroom. So it's going to be talking about the way that you need to stand in front of the children and act. And it's something that I would say is being firm but fair. So as a teacher, as an NQT teacher especially, you're going to stand up in front of that class, and almost certainly, if you're anything like me, you're going to feel extremely nervous about not knowing what to do. Now, that is completely understandable, and I'm not saying you shouldn't feel like that. But you need to keep that inside and display outwardly to the children that you know exactly what you're doing every second of every day. And again, This helps if you've got people around you that you can ask questions so you're ready, but being firm but fair with the children will help you with this. So that means when you say we're going to do something, if one of the children says actually we should do it like this, then you need to be able to respond to that in a firm way to say, no, actually this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it today, but also in a fair way, and you're not biting their head off. They might just be trying to help you out, and you need to be able to respond to them and show that you know what you're doing and you know why you're doing it this way, but you appreciate them trying to help you and you appreciate the fact that they've offered that advice. This is also where if a child begins to push the boundaries, so children will straight away begin to try and test the boundaries. It's what children do. They need to know where they sit in the classroom, where they are in relation to you, and what kind of respect you offer them, what kind of respect they should offer you. And so again, being firm but fair here. If someone has a little mess around, it's being firm and saying, actually, no, that's not how we do it in the classroom, but being fair to them and giving them a chance, giving them time to gain your trust back. It's definitely something that you will need to work on throughout your teaching. And again, I'm not saying I got this right straight away in my NQT year, I definitely didn't, and it was something I worked on throughout that year and I'm still working on now. But the quicker you can get it into your head that that's the way you should go, or it's the way you could go, then the quicker you will find that your behaviour management in the classroom is a lot more straightforward and a lot simpler. So yeah, being firm but fair, make sure you're giving all the children in the class that opportunity to respond to you, to talk about their feelings, talk about why they're doing certain things, but also being firm with your beliefs and the way you want to teach in the classroom, and the children knowing that that is the way things are going to happen, that's the way things are going to roll, and you're the one in charge. Got a snack, and as you can see, decided to bring the lights and everything to set up downstairs. So now let's get into tip number 3. Now this one is all about the children in your class. You're going to have approximately 30 children in your class and they're going to be your responsibility. This might seem like a massive ordeal, this might seem like something that's terrifying, or you may be really excited to begin this. But either way, the first thing you're going to have to do with those children is begin to build a relationship with each and every single one of them. All of those relationships are going to be different, all of those relationships are going to be special, and you're going to need to foster each one of them to make sure that every day when they walk into that classroom, they feel cared for, they feel loved, they feel like they are ready to learn, and they feel that you are there just for them to solely help that child do the very best that they can. The different ways you can do this is, first off, begin by being interested about what they're interested in. Now, they might be looking at spaceships at home. They might be interested in the latest computer game that's come out. They might be watching a new TV series. They might be annoyed at the fact their brother is stealing their favourite toy. Whatever it is that they want to come and talk to you about, reply to them, engage with them, talk about it, relate it to some way of your life. Have you got a brother you can relate that to? Have you got a favourite TV series you're watching that you can talk about it with the kids, obviously keeping it respectful and appropriate for school? Have you played a game recently that they could try out? All these sorts of things, this engagement, this conversation begins to show the child that you're genuinely there for them, you're genuinely interested in what they want to learn. So definitely begin by building those relationships. Make sure you fit some time in during the school day to talk to them about their weekends, their evenings, seeing what kind of things they've been doing. Just when they mention, you know, oh, I went to the swimming pool, I went to play football, I went out with my family shopping, just those tiny little things that you can begin to discuss with them, those little things that you can say, oh yeah, I went there too, oh, I've been there, I really like that place. Or, oh, is that good? Do you recommend? Shall I go there? Shall I go to that restaurant? Shall I go to the local pub? Whatever it is. Anything that you can say, actually, yes, thank you for telling me that. I'm really interested. I want to know more. Definitely begin to engage with those types of things. Just those 5 minutes of circle time, those 5 minutes of asking about their day will help build so much faith in you from them. They'll begin to see you as this person that wants to be there, wants to talk to them, and wants to understand where they're coming from, who they are, and how you can help them. My tip number 4 is a bit of a controversial one, I think, depending on who you follow, depending on who you've spoken to, but I would say don't go out and buy loads and loads of stationery, loads and loads of bits and pieces for your NQT year. There may be one or two things, one or two folders to keep yourself organised. For instance, one of my videos recently, which I'll link up there, is all about the Positive Teacher Company, and they do a fantastic planner. This will help you keep you organised, and I definitely recommend you go and buy that for your NQT year to help you keep track of what's going on when. But I have seen some people go into the NQT year and they've bought suitcases full of stationery, of books, of organisers, of stickers, of all sorts. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that, you absolutely can if you want to, but your school will almost certainly have most of the resources you need. Your school will almost certainly have stickers you can give out, almost certainly have pencils for you to use, pens for you to use, a certain colour pen that you have to mark your books in. So for me, I don't believe in spending all that money, of your own money, before you've even started teaching, on these things that you might not even end up using. If you want to go check out my video on the planner to get one of those, then definitely I'd recommend it. The Positive Teacher Company is run by a teacher who is about to finish teaching actually to run the company, but she is a brilliant person. She's so amazing. The way she runs the company is incredible. So I definitely recommend one of them. But obviously beyond that, a few bits and pieces, not too much. You're almost certainly going to change your mind about what you need anyway. So don't let yourself fall into the trap of spending loads and then ending up not using half of it. My final piece of advice is just to get to know your school. So your school will be different to any other school you have ever taught in. They will have different times that children go to break and go to lunch. They'll have different ways that children go to dinner. They'll have different ways that children collect their dinner. So some schools have coloured wristbands to put on their wrist. Some schools order them on the whiteboard. Some schools order them at home. Some schools might tell the teacher what they want each day. Get to know your school in terms of how the children go home. Do they walk themselves home? Do parents come to the door to collect them? Are parents allowed in the classroom before or after school? How does the rota system work for going out on break duty? Do you have to go out on break duty? There's just so many little questions that you may not even realise you need to ask yet. But the quicker you get to know your school and its routines, its timetables, its structures, the quicker you'll feel at home and comfortable in that environment. One way you can do this is begin by going on the website. So if you have not yet been able to get in touch with many staff members and you don't feel comfortable asking them yet because you haven't started your NQT year, then go on the website and just see what you can find on there. They'll have a massive list of policies for you to read, and I'm not saying that all of them will be exciting, but have a read through and have a look. You'll find loads of information in there, absolutely tons of it. So have a read of the policies and get to know your school, get to know the types of things that you have to do, the types of things that you can do, the freedoms you get to decide which behaviour policy you're going to follow. How do they use dojos? Do they have lunch times where children have to spend finishing their work? Who supervises that? There's just so many questions. I cannot think off the top of my head of all of them, but hopefully that would have given you an idea of some of them you can ask. So definitely make sure you spend some time getting to know your school, the routines, the staff timetables, the way children act as they walk around school, what rules they have to follow. Get to know those routines and you'll be off to a flying start.